Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps Daily Teachings. Before we start, quick disclaimer: anything we discuss is just for educational purpose, nothing is financial advice. All right guys, late video today, late recap today. I mean literally everything was running today, so I can probably recap a lot of stuff, but I'll just focus on the plays, the main plays today that we traded and the main plays that I guided. So we will look at those plays and we will explain to you why this market is ripping so much, why this bullish trend. It was easy to be green today because so much was running. You just had to write Ripster clouds. We'll go through all our setups and see how all of them worked out. Before we start, just a quick introduction. I'll try to do a short introduction. So we trade a repeatable system called Ripster EMA Clouds System with all my teachings about swing trading, day trading, investing that I have been teaching on X, on YouTube for 8-9 years. Thousands and thousands of traders have learned from me, my free education, and have found consistency in the markets. We do the same in a 10 trade group, our one of the largest online trading group, educational group, not a spoon feed alerts group. So what we do is every morning, me and my team, we make a pre-market plan live. We make this plan live. We have the earning plays, we have the breaking news plays, we have the Spike QQQ, the Mag 7 plays, we have upgrades, downgrades, we support levels, resistance level, and initial game plan. My traders can literally follow the game plan, learn the system, and trade the markets. Additionally, we also have something called day 2, day 3 strategy. We share these setups as well. KAR was a pretty good setup there on that as well. We'll take a look at that. And these are the day 2, day 3 setups. One of the repeatable strategy I did a free webinar on. We also trade leverage ETFs, Spike QQQs, Mag 7s. All these levels are shared. Everything you literally had to take along once these pivot levels break. So levels were spot on today there as well. We also trade futures, amazing day to trade futures as well. The levels are provided to the traders who can use to trade it, and in the pre-markets provided. Of course, we trade crypto ETFs, coin, MSTR, all those names. We'll take a look at these as well, how they worked out for the traders. We have a lot of tools in the community. We have over a lot of option flow scanners, stock scanners, breaking news alerts, halt, unhalt, order flow. We are adding more tools as well. The tools worth $500-600 per month, which are literally free for the traders to use in the community. I'm usually live on the voice first few hours of the market open, and also with the live screen and guiding the traders through our setups, through our game plan. So we'll go through all the trades. I'll show you my timestamp guidance, and so you guys can also learn these setups. Setup is what to trade, system is how you trade. So let's start. I'm not going to spend too much time on Spike QQQ today because it was a pretty easy cloud ride all day. So let's look at the pre-market planning. Same thing that I teach you guys all the time. So let's go through that here. 1 second. Let me take a look here. All right, so let's look at pre-market planning on SPY. VIX back at a big support at 18. That will be key today, 1838.18. While market is extended a bit, look for a push over the pre-market highs. Look for a push over the pre-market highs, otherwise we will chop. So that was the plan. So that was simply the plan. VIX did show us some divergence in the middle of the day, but VIX not jumping up too much helped the market to go the push. So the reason the market is pushing today is because I tweeted about this as well. So what's happening is options were not priced in for this move. The volatility has died down. As VIX comes down, the price of options comes down, and they were not priced in for that. They were cheap. So the market makers need to hedge every time they're sold. A lot of options gets in money, so they need to buy to hedge their position, continue to the squeeze. Market is ignoring inflation risk because the bond yields are dropping. So always watch the bond yields, and the market is pricing in the deal. The oil has been selling off, and the money has been starting to pour back in all the AI names, AI, super cycle AI names. That's what we have literally been trading, that we're going to discuss, be it even today, even the new quantum and nuclear names started to pop. All those hard sectors, we call them hotties, has started to pop today. So that's why the market has been running. So the market long, was pretty straightforward today on a SPY QQQ SPX. As soon as we see that move pre-market high breaking out, you take your long, you put this, you put your stops under there on the under the clouds. And we all day we had just push higher. Traders were long. I sold some puts, not a lot of so I sold some puts, I took the premium. So when the market goes up, if you sell the puts and they go to zero, whatever you sold it for, you keep the money. So this is how I traded. I have been trading recently. So I sold those puts when the market was curling right over these clouds right here, and I just held them all the way until I actually added a 10 a.m. flag break. There's two opportunities. You add here on the pre-market break, or you add on the 10 a.m. flag break. So this is called a 10 a.m. flag break. Flag, all day flag, right the clouds. So I rode them all the way until their price was zero, all 5 cents, and they expired out of money. So let's say if I sold those puts for 5, I kept 3,000, 5,000 premium, it went to zero, I kept all that money. So anyways, that's a detailed discussion. But the traders also traded the long lottos. You could trade the leverage ETFs, and we also broke down here. We broke down here, but then we reclaimed. So I told the traders to exit when we broke, but then once it reclaimed, I told the traders, my traders already know, to get back in this reclaim. You could trade this as well, lottos long. Great guidance by the traders all day in the community today. So yeah, so nothing special, guys. I've always, you guys, you can see that how the traders in the community were guiding step by step on the SPX longs, Frying Pan, Texas, Michael, all those traders. Michael took his calls from a few bucks to $7. So yeah, so it was a simple long to trade, ride the clouds. As long as the market is pushing higher, you ride it. The levels were clean. If you look at the levels that I gave in the pre-market on SPY QQQ, once these levels were gone on SPY QQQ, you could trade those long. And even if you were trading the futures, once those levels on ES and NASDAQ were gone, you could trade the clouds all the way up. On their NQ, you could ride the clouds all the way up on NQ futures. You can see that ride all the way, same, right? So this is called a trend day, right? Once the market is breaking out over the pre-market highs, you should get in long, or you could get in long at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. flag breaks. So yeah, so beautiful trade today. Very green trade on SPY QQQ and the futures. Very profitable day for our traders there. So next I'm going to talk about a few of the breakout charts. Yesterday we were reviewing the charts, and I saw this breakout setting up on Google. So it was our ready for trade, the Google long swing trade, breakout laying towards the 330. Not only Google, many other setups were also flagging. Let's take a look here on Meta, right? So the Meta was, so you need to identify these technical breakouts. So Meta was also fragging. Of course, I didn't process chart on it, but always when I make a pre-market plan, that's the plan I make. You see this is a flag here, and I think Amazon was also a daily flag there. So a lot of bullish setups were already there. So you got to be ready. If you look at my pre-market planning and all those names here, so you can see that 400 magnet, Microsoft can put the 400 magnet, Meta, neutral bias, double MTF. If it breaks 643, you get in long. Bullish news on Meta. Google, bullish news over 325, you get long. Amazon over 244.50, you get long. So all those I focus mainly on Google. So Google was a beautiful long trade for us in the community, and Google ran all day. You could see that once that breakout and hit our target, and I shared this breakout chart with the traders in the community as well. Same for Meta. This frag breakout push, you can get in 10 a.m. breakout, and all the guidance is given to the traders, and we just killed it, right? So you could literally long SPY QQQ or Google or Meta or any of those names, follow the pre-market planning, and make consistent money. And you need to hold. This is the key. You need to hold. The day like this, you cannot get out. You need to hold. You need to hold. You need to hold your flag breakouts as long as the clouds are hold. You don't need to exit it. Look at the daily charts, very important. Make sure you, before the day starts, you know what your daily chart is doing. Meta is flagging, right? So what is Google doing? Google is this range breakout. I also call it a range breakout. So need to look at all those names and see what they're doing. You see Apple is still not breaking out of that range. Apple is still kind of over there. Netflix already one of our swing longs from right here. here from the MTF clouds. You could see that, and today it was a nice trade on Netflix as well. Once this level breaks on Netflix, 103.66, 103.25, you just need to get in long there, and it was a beautiful trade as well. So those were the breakout trades on Mag 7 and SPY QQQs. Yeah, so it was an easy day. I would call it an easy day. You just have to be ready. The traders literally killed all those trades today. On Meta, Pond, ROG did really good. Google, of course, I shared the Google setup. Cali Trader did the Google, and Ben did Google. It was a breakout. So same thing that we do it every day. He took 400% on Google there. So that was pretty good. The breakout, breakout, bullish day. You need to hold, let it work. All right, so let's talk about one of our top plays today. This morning, I saw a news coming. A lot of what I do is I always analyze the sector. So let's say I'm going to the quantum plays. In the pre-market, I see which one most of the tickers are gapping up, right? So I go through quickly most of the sectors and see which of my sectors are gapping up, so I can see the strength, right? So I can see the strength. I could see that quantums are gapping up, so they have a strength. What was extended, I always put extended time there, so I can see the strength. So once the news was there on IONQ, I told the traders, good news selected by Defense Agency, double MTF long, watch all quantum stocks, bullish bias, swing watch as well. So we are also swinging it right now. So it's a double MTF, watch all quantum stocks, bullish on MTF, swing watch. So we had that. We also had Oklo as well, which was a nuclear sector, which didn't do much, but quantum, we had IONQ, we have RGTI, we had QBTS, all those are the big quantum, big stocks. You can see the quantum completed the MTF magnet. This was our MTF magnet setups. So as soon as the market opened, I told the traders to long IONQ, MTF magnet long, means you long, this is MTF, this is MTF. Once we long here, we are always looking for that target. So I told the traders the target is 34 on that MTF. We hit 34 pretty soon. Sell some, hold rest. We also hit 34.50. You could literally, risking $1,000, you could make $3,000 there. That's the trade you want to do. And of course, the options were decent. The volume was pretty good today. So we'll be watching tomorrow for the day 2 as well on IONQ. And then we also have this QBTS, which ran from there as well. From the MTF to the, didn't get all the way to the magnet, but it did get complete the magnet later in the day. And let's look at RGTI. So RGTI was also the MTF magnet. It actually started yesterday, but it did complete the MTF magnet. So this is one of my famous strategies, very consistent strategies. My focus was IONQ. You can see step-by-step guidance, pre-market planning, no hindsight, repeatable setup. I can repeat this for life, MTF magnet setup. So that's a beautiful MTF magnet setups. Master this setup. All right, so next one we're going to look at BE. So BE, I have discussed it in detail in BE, what BE has been one of our most, it's also one of our, top 10 and top 30 stock that we focus a lot. I mean, BE, CRDO both were leading our 10 and top 30. BE was actually the top. So I just want to go back to what I have been saying about BE, that it's been our top investing name. I've talked about in January. You can see that highest conviction top investing name. So I won't go into the detail, but I can talk a little bit about what BE does. Is the technology that BE is that it creates electricity in their Bloom boxes. It's pretty niche, right? There's data, so you can take the box, generate the electricity on site. So that's pretty sick, right? Their solid oxide fuel cell convert natural gas into electricity. I mean, it's just insane technology. The CEO is super smart scientist, man. It's just insane technology that it has. So we've been already been discussing the long since we've been breaking out the 100. You can go see our past trades on BE. We had a lot of trades on BE. So today the BE got a big news, but the key here was that BE that I talked about was BE was breaking out this level right here, right? So let me see if I can show you here. Yeah, so let's see. So BE was, it's very simple to take a look here. So BE was breaking out of this level. And then there's also BE, which was a 200 psychological breakout. So let's go back and see what was our plan on BE today. BE, we can push over 200 and over the pre-market highs. And if it broke, it would be profit taking. So 200, 205, these were our long levels. So as soon as I saw in the market that BE is bouncing of 34.50, you see this? That's when I told the traders long versus 200 for now, right? The breakout is at 209. So you long it, your stops at 200, you long at 202, 204, wherever you want to long it, you could long it. But that is your risk. Your stops are at 200 or a little bit lower. It's that simple. So first target I gave was 215. And as we started to move up, I told the traders, you know, to move your stops to 202 right here. And then we moved the stops to 202, 2015. Next on the flag break, we got this flag break right here. You know, we hit 215 and we did actually hit 218. You can see my timestamp guidance. The first target I gave was 215. Next target I gave was 218, and we hit over 218 target as well. The big picture, right? It's a big picture trade, and we did exit once it broke the 512s here. And then this was a 34.50 bounce. I told the traders for the 34.50 bounce, play the long calls, and those traders who are swinging it, they could swing it. So I told the traders to swing it. So exit here, add back here on the 34.50, and then swing the rest. So that was our BE trade. Traders literally killed that in the community as well. Pretty simple, straightforward trade, guys. Big news with Oracle. You can see everybody in the community was top of it. Texas, Spidey, Emerald, Vijay. Thanos asked me the target. I gave him 215 and 218 targets. So that was a pretty good trade for everybody in the community. BE, it was just a beautiful trade. I do expect it to run a little bit more. Still a good, great long-term stock. If there's a big, huge market pullback and this pulls back, we'll keep an eye. For now, the swing traders should keep their stops at 198. Or if you want to do 200, that's fine. So let's look at the next one we're going to discuss. The next one we're going to discuss is PLTR. So PLTR was not at the same kind of run as the other names. So I told the traders to long PLTR, MTF longs, stops at 134 or 133, right at the open, I told them. And that was the plan on PLTR, because PLTR was one of our top day 2 setups there. So PLTR was one of our top day 2 setups, and that's why we were long on a PLTR. And it did push, 930, I told the traders to long, pulled back, held our stops. It did push to 137.50, 138. We got a couple of dollars worth of profit, but then it started chopping, hit our stops. We got out at 136. So nothing special there, but was definitely a good mover, and we had a plan and we nailed it. All right, so let's look at next one. Next one we're going to look at is a Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin also this morning was pretty strong. So it was pretty strong this morning. The Bitcoin chart pre-market was looking really good. And what I had a plan in the pre-market was on breakout over 75,000. You could long it. Check the crypto sheet. You can pause the screen and go through all these Bitcoin names, IBIT coin, MSTR circle, and you can look at these levels, resistance levels. So you just have to get long over those. So IBIT, as soon as I saw that Bitcoin started to push over the breakout level, I told the trader IBIT calls. IBIT ran for 42 all the way to 43.19. So that was a beautiful move there. And at the same time, Circle, very strong name, pushed with it. You just have to watch it. Coin pushed with it. One of our main names and one of our swing and tanner research is Robinhood, because Robinhood, I've been talking in the community that initially we bought the 70s, it broke down, we got out, but then when it was trading right here close to 65, 68, I told the traders you can risk 60 and any dip you can buy, or smaller risk is 65. We bought it around the 65 area. When it dipped there, this was a D- trade, playing the support, right? When you're swing trading, you have to play the support. So anyways, because Bitcoin was breaking out, Hood also was breaking out, completed the MTF magnet from this MTF to that MTF. It's a key concept as well to learn there. So all right, let's look at the next one. Next one we're going to look at is Micron. Was a good trade for the traders today, but that came late in the day. I mean, it didn't really trigger right at the open. Bullish bias over pre-market high. So the plan was to long out 436 or 440. So once it started to break that 440, that's when you long it. midday setup. And I talked about this 1 hour breakout with my traders yesterday. You can see that MU was, let's take a look here. Yeah, so a lot of traders were on that MU long. Texas was on top of it on MU long because there was this 1 hour range breakout. So it was good. It was, good long by traders in the community there. All right, let's look at next one. We're going to look at is a JNJ. Let's look at some of our earning plays. Earning season is one of our best seasons where we do a lot of good setups. So JNJ was a long curl. Let's take a look here. And the plan on JNJ in the pre-market was bearish bias to short, only long if the previous day low bounces. So you see that it bounced here. It reclaimed the previous day low. It became a long here. So you see these candles, you get long here, put your stops down here, you take it all the way up. In this case, 512 and 3450 are pretty close. You hold it, MTF breakout, 242. So I gave the 236 stops to the traders for the long, you can see here. And as we moved up, we moved the stops higher, 241, it went to 242. Nothing crazy, but this was one of our setups on the earning plays. Much better earning setups to follow. This was still not bad. All right, so let's look at next one. Next one, we'll look at CAR, short squeeze here. So CAR, again, I told the traders that it's a 400 magnet. It was also the midday squeeze. So, it was pretty good, pushed higher all the way, still squeezing. You can see my other videos there as well. But anyways, that's all I just wanted to discuss. There was a lot of plays today. I mean, we didn't really need to do much with the market and Mag 7. Some days you will see all the Mag 7 runnings, and today was one of those days. Thank you.